Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today we're going to be talking about my December planner lineup. So I apologize for having this video come up a little bit late. I have been behind schedule, I feel like, just in life and with everything. I've been a little bit sick. I think you can kind of hear it in my voice. I'm still getting over a cold, and so we'll just go through the stack as quickly as possible just so that way I can take some time to rest before I start work. So, what we have here are all of the planners that I plan to be in fairly consistently for the month of December. I did decide, as I was flipping through some of my previous months, to drop or reduce some of my planners. So there are two planners that for sure have been removed from this lineup from from October, November to December. So that would be my family planner. So I have stopped using that one. I also decided to stop using my expense tracker. Now I will have to come back in and essentially put together my plan for 2026, my budget for 2026, but I'm going to do that separately. It's not going to be like part of the expense tracking, so that's off the list. Oh, and I'm thinking there's a third planner, and that's my social media planner that I'm not using for December as well. So there are already three planners that are off the table. I'm also trying to catch up with my memory books for my girls. That's still on the table. I'm still trying to work on that, but I'm very, very behind for those two. And then there's one planner that I didn't, or one journal that I didn't put in here. I do still use it, but it's very inconsistent, and that's going to be my faith journal, which is kind of a coloring book. If you want to see what that looks like, definitely watch some of my previous videos, especially my lineup video and or my flip through video. You'll see what the pages look like for that. So those are three planners plus two memory books plus one faith journal. So that's six total that I'm not discussing in this video. What I'm going to do for the rest of this video is just kind of walk you through the things that I will be using consistently. These are the things that I want to be in at least once a week, sometimes every day. And so let's get into it and kind of talk about from top to bottom what these things are. And I will just say to start off with, there are 5 planners here. And so we'll just again go from top to bottom and go through everything. So we're going to start right at the very top. This is going to be my personal / catch-all. And in fact, just like I mentioned already, I'm a little bit behind schedule, so I've already started using it. You'll see here that I've started using it here for the second. But what I decided to go through and do is mark all of my major events for the entire month. And you can see I just kind of set it apart as like a different kind of heading. One of the things that I've noticed is that most of my events, if I have an event, it's going to be something that's outside of my house. Like most of them, I would say 99% of them. There is the rare event that occurs at my house, like I'm hosting something. But for the most part, everything is outside of my house. And so I just like to be able to track it. I've already made some mistakes, as you can see here, but it is a like an hourly format. So it goes from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, that 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour. And then it has a to-do list right here. There's a section for 3 top priorities and then a notes section. You'll also notice that this is from August 2021. I am just ignoring all of the outdated portions of it, and I'm just looking at the number that's in the corner to be able to track. And so I am using these pages and trying to use up my stash, and so I'm just using this for December 14th, December 15th, even though it says August 2021. And so again, I just note all of my events here, my to-do list, any priorities. Usually all day events go here, and I have a small journaling spot which I normally don't use for anything. And then here what I do is, you can see I designate all of my major events, but then in between these events I will make notes about what I've done during the day. So what I like when I have meals, when I have conversations with my family, that kind of thing, I just kind of note and have like a running log of my day by 30-minute intervals. And so I love using this. I did decide to add to the list of like planners I stopped using. I did decide to stop using my weekly planner that was part of my personal catch-all. And so that is something where I've simplified my personal catch-all just to the daily. And so I will towards the end of December, kind of go through and talk about 2026 planner lineup. I have a lot of planners. I just don't know how consistent I'll be in all of them, just because I'm noticing I'm trying to simplify. So all that to say, that is my personal catch-all is the daily page. This is a half letter, by the way. That is from Tool, T-U-L, from Office Depot, and I definitely have this for 2026. I'm excited about it. I did upgrade the look a little bit here, so for December, it is ready to go. So first planner is my personal catch-all. Okay, so the second planner in my lineup is pretty straightforward. It is another daily planner. I really love daily planners. I hope you can hear that. So this one is actually for my work though. So this is a 2025 planner. And so this will be the very last month that is in this planner. It goes from January to December 2025. I did start using it in, I think, October. And so, it is pretty much like done by the end of this month, and then I'll start back over in January and use January until I think September and just kind of redate. So that's my plan for 2026. But for December, it is a daily page. So it's set up a little bit differently than the tool page. So here it goes from 6 to 9 o'clock, so 8:30. 9 o'clock, and it's 30-minute intervals again. There's a much longer to-do list. There is a notes section right here, and then you can see there's a section down here that says evening, which I don't normally work this late at night, and so I just use it as blank space. Now this planner, I pretty much track my work events, and so any work meetings, work tasks, and things that I've done at work, I will track here. And so I try to keep my personal and my work stuff pretty much separate. The only time there's any overlap is if there's something that kind of eats into my personal time. I will make note of work events in my personal planner for that reason, and I'll make note of it here. But just like, for example, if I have a 5 o'clock meeting, normally I'm not working at 5 o'clock. Normally I have my kids at 5 o'clock. And so I'll have the note here that I had a 5 o'clock meeting, but I'll also have it in my personal planner that I had a 5 o'clock meeting, just so that way I can plan better for my kids. So with that being said, though, I normally just use this planner Monday through Friday, and that works out because Saturday and Sunday has kind of this weird split. I don't really love that, but the way that I do this is just have 3 columns. So there's like this very faint line right here, and so this first column is for my meetings and events, like so just any meetings that I have on the calendar. This one I normally just use to mark any things that I have completed, and then this is a running to-do list for the day. So I just write down all the things that I see through email or through text, or someone tells me something during a meeting. I just make a list, a very long list of things that I need to do. And then this section, I normally just journal to myself or write like notes to myself just to keep myself motivated for work. And I do that pretty much Monday through Friday. So that has been working out well for me. I did at some point in 2025 have a meeting planner, like a notebook that went with this, but I have stopped using that. So there are lots of planners that I've come and gone in my 2025 lineup. And so for December, definitely keeping it simple, just using the one daily planner for work. So super excited to continue that. Okay, the next one is going to be a super quick one. This one is a dashboard layout that is actually current. I have, actually no, for December, I think I've moved in some Simply layout pages. So it is a, let's see. Yeah, it is a Simply layout planner that I've already redated. Oh no, caregiver pages, right? Random pages that have this dashboard. I basically put this together probably towards the beginning of the year, and since I had already redated it, I decided to stick it in here to just in use. And so you can see this side is the caregiver layout. So this is the caregiver, and what I use this for is for my leadership planner. And so what I do on this side is pretty much just take note of the big events that are happening. And normally on this side, I'm just taking notes, to-do list, that type of thing. Because of the format of this caregiver layout, I probably just will not use this side at all, and I would only use the right hand side. Yeah, and so that's pretty much it. Like right here, just as an example of like a regular dashboard, I would put my to-do list and just notes to myself here. But again, I have it set up as a caregiver, so I'm just going to use basically just the right hand side. You can kind of see what it looks like. I just write notes for the things that are happening, and that's pretty much it. So I have one major leadership I guess like organization that I'm involved in right now, Junior League, and so I just take Junior League notes in here. So that will continue. All of my Junior League notes also go into my personal catch-all, so I do consider this one of my specialty planners. If I ran out of time or didn't have time to work in here, this would definitely be one of the ones that just kind of falls to the wayside, because all of these notes also end up in my personal catch-all. They're just not as detailed normally, but I do have a place to track it if I need to, and so this one could definitely sit on the shelf for a little bit and not being used. So this is my leadership planner. I do want to use it, and so we'll see how consistent I am in it for December. Okay, the next one is my holiday planner. So this is my Christmas planner. I need to buy a patch just to cover this up. My sister actually gave me this cover. It had her name on there, and so I want to replace that. But inside here is my Christmas planner. I have it, I'm pretty sure I did. I have a section right here that should be labeled calendar, and so I'm going to be working in here quite a bit for Christmas. And so this section is calendar. There's a party section. This section should be labeled cards and gifts, so I need to relabel that. And then this one is pretty much just notes and memories. And so I have these 4 sections. I do have Christmas dividers, and so I could add a couple more sections. Don't know if I really need to, but I do have extra like Christmas extension packs, things like that, that I could add to. But this planner, I'm planning just to be in here. I'm not hosting Christmas, but definitely I want to get gifts, gift ideas, just thoughts and fun notes to myself in here. I do use this every single Christmas, and so it has notes all the way from like 2020, maybe even 2017, through the last year. And so I try to keep all the notes together for Christmas so that way I can refer to things as I continue. But the main part of this planner that I'll be spending a lot of time in is going to be this planner. So again, this is in the calendar section, this front part, that is the calendar. And I decided to break down a seasonal planner that I got on clearance, and it goes through December 2026. So that includes the December 2025, as well as December 2026. Let me show you that. So this is the 2026 version, and this is 2025, right? So I am just going to be spending a lot of time in here just decorating it, taking notes. The way that I do most of my planners is I use a single section as like the main hub, and then I'll break it out. So like for right here, for example, if on the 15th I decided to like sit down and just do a lot of menu planning, I would put a note here that says menu planning, and then in the menu planning section I would have more detailed notes. So that's kind of how I operate with my catch-all, for example, and that's how I do it for this holiday planner as well. So these pages, the weekly pages, will be the hub for any notes that I put in the remainder of the planner. Now going back to the monthly, there is a monthly here. This I just basically use to track any community events. I just like to have a record of the different things that happen in my city, so that way, you know, next year if I'm looking for something, I can kind of like look for certain organizations to have a party or have an annual event of some sort. And so you can kind of see what this looks like in previous years. Like right here, here's a list of events. Let me go back a little bit more. Here is from, well, no, I don't have any more. Right, so yeah, so here is December. I have a couple of daily pages in here. There's some tasks in here as well, but I do track community events. I feel like that was the only one that I just showed you there. And so I would track these events here, and it looks like this on the actual monthly page. So I do the same thing here, just so that way I can keep track of the things that are happening in my city. So that's the plan, is to use this for community events. Of course, use this for just tracking all the things that I'm doing Christmas related. I'll probably do a flip through of any pages that I use for December, in the January video, or I might do a separate video just doing some Christmas planning. Not quite sure yet. I feel like I have not been able to be on YouTube as much as I wanted to. I did say I was going to take a hiatus or like a small break, just, record as I needed to, but definitely been a longer break than I thought. But I will be in this planner for sure, setting up for Christmas. So that is my Christmas planner. And then finally, I'm going to have to zoom out just a little bit because this is so big. This is my health planner. And so this planner is basically tracking my food log and a couple of health notes that I have. I went to the doctor recently. I mentioned that I think in one of my videos, I can't remember which. And so now I have a whole host of things that I need to track. And so I'm going to be using this to track those things. I have not done it for December 1st yet, just because I wanted to record this video before I went back in and put in some of the numbers and notes to myself. But I do use an outdated teacher layout, so just ignore this side right here. I redated across the top. And then I just use it essentially chronologically. So like right here, I would usually put like breakfast. This would be morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, dinner. And so I would continue doing that, but in between those sections, I would also take health notes. So any numbers, any vital signs, measurements, that type of thing, I would just kind of put in between the meals. And so that's my plan. I don't always have, those 5 distinct like eating times, and so sometimes areas are blank. I would just fill in those blank areas with notes to myself. Now, I have not mentioned at this point, but like all of these plans and all of these planners, except for probably the Christmas planner, will be completely functional. It'll be all pen. That's just the way that I like to simplify, is just to use all pen, and just keep it as simple as possible. Even probably my Christmas planner will have a week or two that is completely pen, and no stickers, but to make it simple for myself, that's just how I do it. And so this will be all pen. I'm just taking notes. I try to keep it nice and neat, but definitely not focusing on stickers or anything like that. I'm just really focusing on being functional with my planning. So I have this planner. I do have my work planner, my catch-all, my Christmas planner, as well as my leadership planner. I'm not going to pull it back on camera just because I don't feel well, but that was my super quick walkthrough of my December planner lineup. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.